What's up guys, Play Commander here, and welcome to another tier list video. It's 11 o'clock at night. We were gonna play some more Among Us, but enough people left that we couldn't start another game, so instead we're gonna rank the letters of the alphabet from best to worst.
Yeah.
So, I'm joined by two guests, one of which is recurring guest, the other of which is technically a channel. I think you're a channel newcomer. Or wait, no, you were in the Cards Against Humanity. That's right.
Yeah, he was.
It's TheBronyGames. He's the guy that helped me out with the Luigi's Mansion LP way back in the day. Good times.
Yeah, and I've been quiet since because I have nothing to do with my life.
Except rank the letters of the alphabet because we're tired and have nothing better to do. I mean, it is important. So I think it's safe to say that A is a solid A tier.
Okay, yeah. A is a solid A tier.
Because I mean, like you get a letter A grade, and that generally means it's a good thing. It's not an A plus, but it's an A, and you still feel good about yourself. So I think that's a solid A rank. Also, it's A. It just fits.
It does.
It do.
Yeah.
So I think that makes sense. All right, B. How do y'all feel about B?
I don't like B.
No, here's...
I'd say average, like maybe a C.
Here's my issue. I'm gonna put it in C, and here's my issue with B. B is two words, neither of which are just B.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
Right.
I don't like that. I disagree. So B goes in C. Now C, on the other hand, C is a pretty solid letter. I think I'm gonna put that in B because it's a nice... solid middle ground. It's passing, and it looks like a crescent moon.
Yeah, but C is also a word that doesn't even have C in it.
Alright, just for that, I'm knocking it down to D. Because you're right, and now that I know that, it's gonna bother me for the rest of my life. No, it's two- no, we're putting C in F tier, actually, because there's two words that are pronounced C. Three words that are pronounced C, none of which have C in them.
What's the third one?
I don't see what.
Yes in Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't have C in it either, so I hate that. That's, yeah. C is trash. Okay, now, here's the thing. Taking the D is funny. So, I'm thinking either A or B. S tier.
I'd say solid S.
S tier, really? You guys really like D that much? Damn.
Letter D because it's the word that my name, because it's the letter that my name starts with.
You guys really like D, damn.
Well,
okay.
You take a giant D and you throw it to someone. They know what you're implying.
All right, that's valid actually. Yeah, D is an S tier. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, now how do y'all feel about E?
I love E.
I mean, you can make the Shrek meme all day long.
I mean,
outside of that, what do you have?
It's that's the thing though. It's such a versatile letter. Like,
but you can't do much with it on its own. Outside of
look, I am fairly confident in saying that E is the most prominent vowel in the English language.
That is true.
Like by a significant margin, and for that alone, it's a very useful letter.
So prominent that when you play Scrabble, there are 12 E tiles.
There's that many E's? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there's 12.
Oh my god.
I don't play Scrabble that much.
I mean, there's a reason for it, though. Like I said, it's a very prominent letter. It's useful.
Think about the word cheese.
And also, there's so many variants of E. Like, there's, like, the accent E, the reverse accent E, the A combined with an E. E's an S tier. It's a good letter.
Wait, A or S?
I'm putting E in S.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Alright, now, this might be a controversial statement, but F is an S tier.
Oh.
Look, think about it. How else would you pay respects? How else would you pay respects without F? You can't. It doesn't work. You can't. Exactly. You press F to pay respects. Everybody in the comments.
I'm putting it at the top of S tier.
Yeah, put it in the top of S tier. Everybody in the comments. F to pay respects. F is a letter that it demands
respect to C for
F quite literally demands your respects.
Here's what I say. Not only can you use F to pay respects, but you can also do it to disrespect, because when you say F you know what they mean.
Yeah, like, that's another reason that we like F, because it's the first letter in fuck. It's obvious. It's obviously an S tier. All right, so there's no other way to put F. It's the best letter. I don't know. Oh, I don't know about the best letter, but it's up there. It's one of the best letters. How do you?
Can we just take a second to agree that G is not a good letter?
I want to like Chi, but I can't because it disguises itself. It's like a J in disguise sometimes, and it doesn't.
It looks more like a C in disguise. Like it wants.
No, it looks like a C in disguise, but it acts like a J in disguise. I think G is like the midlife crisis of the alphabet.
It really is.
Yes.
And for that, I'm gonna put it. I'm teetering between D and F tier.
I'd honestly say move up C just to put
So
G
again, like
lower.
Yeah, C has to be above G.
I'm putting C at the top of S tier. I'm putting G at like the bottom of S tier.
You're putting
Of F
C
tier.
At S tier? What?
I meant to say F.
All right. Well, yeah, because the C thing still bothers me. So I think I'm gonna put them both in F. G is gonna be like the bottom of F.
All right, H. We love H
Why?
because H.
Here's my problem with H. It's there, and half the time you don't realize it's there. Its most useful thing is to be an added supplement to other letters. By itself, it doesn't really do a whole lot.
Well,
But wait, listen, no, hear me out. Like, you put it after a T, and it's like, you put it after an S, and you're trying to tell someone to shut the fuck up. If you just have an H by itself, you're just breathing. And that's not very exciting.
well, here's what I would
Okay,
say.
but breathing keeps you alive.
You take that H stand alone, and you know what I see? History, and history is boring, so I'm putting that low.
History can be important, though. No, the history channel isn't history. The history channel is people conspiring about aliens.
Do we want to put H in B tier?
I think that's too generous because, like I said, H by itself doesn't really do anything.
I'd say at most of your.
H is most useful when you put it behind other letters. By itself, you're literally just exhaling. I mean, yeah, exhaling is important, but it's not very exciting.
I'll be generous and say C because it does have some uses, but
Yeah, that's why I'm not putting it any lower than C. Because it does have its uses, and I do like how it makes the rest of the alphabet a little bit more dynamic. The problem is that, like, by itself, it doesn't do much.
Alright, Jason, how do you spell I?
Carefully. And by that I mean without the letter I.
now let me put
Careful,
in
I.
the 2 cents I have here. I think I is like one of the worst designed letters because you can literally put
It's a line.
you can literally put a capital I and no one's gonna tell if it's an I or an L.
I agree. I strongly agree. And because of that, I think I'm gonna put it in D.
And
Yeah.
even then, it's
Because
not-
here's the thing, I'm putting it above C and G.
I, one of which is literally just the letter I, and the other one doesn't even have the letter I in it.
That's
So I'm
true.
gonna put it in D tier.
well, not only that is both forms of I could get confused because
Yeah, because one of them just looks like a lowercase L, the other one looks like a J.
exactly.
The I, it's like G all over again. It's having an identity crisis,
Exactly.
which coincidentally starts with I.
So I'd say personally it goes in F.
I want to put
Or higher than G.
It's higher than G. It's higher than G, and I think I'm gonna put it higher than C as well because it's a vowel and therefore it's useful.
I'm putting it equal to G.
And here's the thing: what's interesting about I is that if like used in conjunction with other vowels, it kind of like changes them.
I mean, okay. So I does have its own use. Like when you're literally using the word I, it's literally.
Move it a bit. Maybe we could move it up to D, or probably not.
I'm gonna put it in D. Alright, so, my name starts with J. That being said, I think J is kind of like an unfortunate letter. Cause, like, here's the thing. If G were to just, like, make up its damn mind, then J would be a better letter because it would be unique. But G has to be like, no, I want to be J too, and steal half of its credit.
Well, is
Okay,
that
but J can also be H.
Only in Spanish. I've never seen that happen in English.
Yes, but you also use Spanish as your criteria, as a piece of criteria for why C is bad.
That's valid.
How about this? Sometimes J can also sound like sort of like an S or a Z.
What?
You've never heard that before?
No, what the hell are you talking about?
You've never used it or whatever?
What? Bruh. I'm putting J in B tier because I feel like actually no.
Yeah.
Actually B or C? What do you guys think?
I'd say C. I'd say C as
Put
well.
it in B.
I think I'm gonna put it in the top of C actually, because like here's the thing. While I do have problems with J, most of them stem from the fact that they either come from other languages or it's G's fault.
Fuck G.
Yeah, like for real talk, fuck G. G can go die. All right, so honestly, I think K's gonna be another S tier.
I'd say.
I'd say weird.
Look, K can mean so many things. It's such a useful response for when you don't know what else to say, and also it means potassium.
But also sometimes. I mean, yeah, I was gonna say that, but you can also at the same time annoy people by just doing that, which is a bonus and not a bonus.
It's not a bonus if you're on the receiving end. If you're on the giving end, K is extremely useful.
Okay, but also, Kit Kat starts with K.
I've never had a Kit Kat.
They're delicious.
Oh, what?
Look, I don't eat a lot of things, alright? That shouldn't be that surprising.
Yeah, because you have that weird thing with your mouth.
Yeah. I'd like to announce to the audience that I can't feel my foot. This has nothing to do with the video, I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, so we're putting K in S tier.
Yeah, K is a good letter.
So right now I have S tier.
Also, K just looks stylish, man. Like, just look at it. It's got swag. It's like stepping its leg out on the runway. It's got some style.
Well, hear me out on all this. I definitely agree that K can be useful, but much like with J, it kind of gets pulled down by C.
That's true. But well, I mean, that's another problem with G. Like, cause like C doesn't make up its mind on what it wants to be. It's either a K or an S. And both of those are already taken, so C is literally the most pointless letter in existence, because it cannot do anything that another letter can't already do. And actually, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm putting C down to the bottom, because now that I'm thinking about it, C is a completely useless letter. The only things it ever does are the same thing K does, the same thing S does, or if you put an H after it, which is completely pointless. Like, C by itself does absolutely nothing. It's useless.
So what we're saying is, if you have a curved letter like C or G, it's pointless.
I mean, the ends of it are pointed.
Up there.
That's not the reasoning. The reasoning is that they're useless letters. C has an identity crisis and is also completely useless because other letters already do its job. And G just doesn't know whether it's a G or a J half the time.
Alright, what are we doing with L?
L's not a very good letter.
Well, you can also give someone the L.
Here's the thing, though. Even if you're giving someone the L, that's still implied a bad thing. Like, if you're giving someone the L, that's like you're giving them bad news. Nobody likes to give bad news. Where like and like you want to say, here's the thing, if you want to say the same thing about F, no, that's different, because fuck is a fun word to say.
Well, F is also different because you can also pay respects.
Well, that's why I like F, because it's so versatile. I think I'm gonna put L and D because most of my problems with L come from the fact that it's like I hate lowercase L with a passion.
Yeah, that kind of goes in the same thing with I.
Yeah, lowercase L is just uppercase I.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I hate it.
But I'm blaming that more on I than L, but yeah.
Alright, now we're at the wide boy, we're at M.
The wide boy.
The wide boy.
I think it's a solid A tier, honestly.
Yeah.
It's nothing really wrong with M. It stands for Mario. I like Mario.
The only problem I have with M is the same thing I have with N. They're very, very similar. Oftentimes I'm on the phone and no one can tell the difference when I'm saying them.
M also means which is an expression of good taste. So that's a point in M's favor.
It's all depending on the tone. Where if I go, you can also think, he's not sure about that.
Yeah, but it can also mean that's goddamn delicious.
It can also mean microwave noises.
Yes, it can. That is very true. I think M is a solid A tier, mostly because and also because Mario, and I like Mario. Mario is fun.
I agree with you, mostly because I would put it with S if it wasn't for my issue with N, which is up next.
Now here's the problem with N. It sounds very similar to M. It looks very similar to M, and just for that, it's gonna have to go down. Because it steals the thunder from M. Because like they sound so similar. N is just a try-hard M.
N is just M, but to pronounce the N sound, you have to not have your lips touch each other.
Yeah. And look, no, here's the perfect analogy for the letter N. It's an M that gave up 4/5 of the way through.
I was gonna say it's more like the wannabe child who's like he wants to fit in, but he just falls too short because he doesn't put in enough effort.
Exactly. It's like someone who wanted to make an M and they gave up after the third line.
So F.
I was gonna put it in D, but like we're making a pretty good.
Have we found a real redeeming quality here?
Not really. That's why I'm thinking F.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's a confusing letter when you're trying to communicate with people because it's very hard to tell the difference sometimes, and it's just an M that's not trying hard enough. It's just not.
No, it says GCN.
It's not putting its best in.
Now with O, I feel like
I'm still gonna put it above G and C because at least N has its own identity. At least like N is not anything that another letter can already say. G and C don't have that benefit.
Well, here's something that'll really confuse you. That one letter can be an entire syllable in Japanese.
What?
Yeah, literally, is a.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Here's the thing, though. We're basing this off the English alphabet. Even though we've already deviated from this twice.
Yeah, even though you've already mentioned Spanish more than once.
Still, though, like, the N it's a consonant. It shouldn't be its own syllable. That just doesn't make sense.
Let alone its own word.
Yeah. So N is F tier. It's above G and C, but it's not good.
Now, hear me out when I say this. I feel like O can be good, but its design is literally just like the laziest thing in the world because it's literally just a circle.
Bro, what do you have against circles?
Well, think about it this way then. What does that leave Q?
No. Hear me out. We'll get the Q when we get to Q, but hear me out. We're not talking about this or this. We're talking about this.
So then, I look at O and it kind of gives me the same vibe that N gives you over M. It feels like it just gave up because it could have just added one more point and it'd be a Q, but it gave up.
Again, I'll get to Q in a little bit.
Very, very different letters as opposed to M and N,
which sound very similar. Yeah. Also, O is like ooh. And that piques interest. I think it's a B tier. It's not anything special, but it's a good letter.
It's perfect curvature.
Yeah, really. Look at that round boy. Look at him go.
You like him round?
I like. What did I just say? We're not talking about this or this. We're talking about this. All right.
Yeah.
O is
B tier.
O is B tier.
I like that. P.
If you're gonna talk about round things, I got something for you later on.
All right. Well, how do y'all feel about P?
Pee pee poo poo.
It stands for both bathroom things and also both genitals.
Yes.
I think that's a point in P's favor.
You literally type PP, and most people will know it.
Yeah, they'll know exactly what you're talking. Sometimes you don't even need that. Sometimes you can just put P, and they'll get it.
I'd say an A tier.
Yeah, A tier seems solid.
Yeah.
I like P. Now Q.
Hold on.
Okay, so Q, I literally was talking about this with O. But
I don't like Q.
I feel like Q even more so is like terrible, mostly because not only does it lose its identity through what O does, but also it literally can't do anything on its own.
Q is just an O with a tail.
And not only that, but how many words can you spell out with a Q that doesn't have a U directly after it?
Exactly my point. That's what I was gonna bring up, because Q is a useless letter. Why did you leave the call if you needed to be joined back? Just tell him to join a voice channel and I'll move him. You didn't think that through, did you?
No, I did not.
Alright, so Q is F tier. Easily.
And not only that, it also has its own identity crisis, because it also tries to
Q is useless.
Q is the most pointless letter ever, because it either A, entirely relies on a U to do its job, or if there is no U present, it's just a K.
It literally...
Its design is also stupid. It's literally just
a spiky O.
It's an O with a tail, and lowercase q is just a G with a backwards tail.
Bottom of F to me.
Bottom of F. Q is the worst letter.
Yes.
The word Q is just a Q followed by 2 silent letters, and I really don't, or 4 silent letters, and I really don't like that.
Now, I got an argument for you.
Well, any rational person would think that it's Quiwi, but no, it's just Q. It's
Which
just
you
Q.
can also spell C-U-E.
Yeah! Another reason that Q is useless.
It also relies on a U, ironically.
You could just put a K and a Y next to each other, and they would do the only unique thing that Q does. So Q is obsolete. Q sucks.
Do you mean a K and a W?
No.
No, K and a Y.
Which would also spell out one of the best characters in Honey Puff.
I wouldn't know because I haven't played that game. Anyway, how do you feel about R?
I think R's alright.
I'd say B, maybe?
Now, my problem with R, and this is kind of more so a point against L than R, but like it gives Asian speakers a hard time. And that's not me being racist towards Asians, not at all. It legitimately gives them a hard time because they're not like the way that they learn languages in Asian countries, they don't have an R sound. So their ears aren't trained to hear it, and they legitimately can't tell the difference. That's why, like, there's the stereotype of like English and hero. It's not because they have like an accent. It's because they literally can't audibly tell the difference between R and L. They think they sound the same.
I can confirm this. I am part Korean, and I grew up with issues with my R's.
Like the issue is that they're so close to somebody who isn't like raised knowing the difference that they're almost indistinguishable from each other, to the point where it creates a language barrier within a language barrier.
But that's more so because of L.
Exactly, that's my point. But here's the thing. Here's the catch with that. L is the one they're missing. R isn't. So R often gets misused.
That's just R being unlucky and not really...
Honestly, that's fair.
Well, I don't say in defense of R, you can also roll your R's, which sounds awesome.
I can't do that, actually. I'm really bad at it. I can't do it. I've never been able to roll my R's. Even, like, look, here's the thing. Even when I was a little kid, I had a hard time pronouncing R's, and I'm a native English speaker. I'm Irish and Polish.
I mean...
And, like, I grew up in the United States, and my first and only language is English, and even I had a hard time saying R's when I was very young. And just because of that alone, like, it's a challenging letter that doesn't really need to be challenging.
C? It's C or D?
It does deserve some respect.
I think C, because also, it's just a P with a crutch.
I'd see it more as like a lean, like a swagger lean.
It kind of looks like a hieroglyphic, like walking. You ever seen that? Like with the one leg extended out in front?
Yeah, P is standing, R is walking.
R is walking, yeah.
When you walking.
When you are. When you are.
You are walking.
Alright, so yeah, I think R is a good B or C tier.
Okay, I think we can all agree that S is S.
Obviously. What else would it be? It looks like a snack. It's very useful. It literally makes other letters C obsolete because it just does their job better. And it gets enhanced with H. There's no downsides to S. It's a good boy.
Look at its curvature.
It's also the most simple letter to understand because whether it's capital or cursive, it looks exactly the same. It's just smaller.
Exactly.
Which is another point in O's favor, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I'd say easy. I'd say easy A tier. I wouldn't say it's S, but it's close to it.
But just look at him. He looks like a snack. Snacks are cool.
Snacks are cool.
I love snacks. I think just because snack even starts with an S. How can you not love that?
I'll say top of the A tier. Is that fair?
Nah, no, S tier. It's definitely S. Look, S is so good that it's generally considered to be above A just because it's just better. How else do you explain why S is above A in tier lists? Because S is just that good.
If you say so.
That's also why they skip E in tier lists because they don't want to disrespect it by putting it below D.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna say something a little controversial. I think T is a high tier one.
Honestly, I agree. I like T.
Because you know how there's the meme of like what was it, like Daniel, the cool Daniel? It's literally the cool eye because it's got a top hat.
It has a top hat. No, it doesn't even have a top hat. It has a sombrero. It has like a sombrero. When it's
we gotta love and appreciate the sombrero.
It's
it loses its identity crisis once you give it one.
It's quite literally T-posing.
I'd say S tier easily.
Yeah, I agree. Also,
than people.
Unlike I and C, T has two words that are T, and both of them start with a T.
It doesn't have its own identity crisis.
It doesn't.
It loses that when it gets the top hat.
Exactly.
S or A?
It's an S tier. T is a good letter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
literally T, if it's capitalized, you give it a sombrero. If it's lowercase, you still give it a top hat.
Yeah. T's a good boy.
How do we feel about you?
I don't know. I don't really have strong feelings about you.
I'm kind of indifferent about you.
It does kind of look like a bucket.
It is like literally the only reason why the letter Q exists.
That is true. Without you, Q would be literally completely pointless.
It is useful in that regard because it gives another one.
So like it's a decent letter, but it has like a couple things that are good about it. So I put it in B.
But at the same time, you look at it on a report card and you think it's terrible.
When the hell have you ever gotten a U on a report card?
How do you get a U on a report card?
Mainly when I was in elementary school, but usually it was like
that's not a thing.
Yeah, there's like the grade letters, and then there's F. And then occasionally there's S for satisfactory and P for passing. I've never seen U.
When I would get S,
sometimes there's G and E for excellent and good. Or R for something.
No, I've never gotten that. I've had the teacher literally write excellent or good. They never just put the letter.
Now, whenever I would see
it's never there.
Whenever I would see S or P, there would also be U for unsatisfactory. I don't know. I guess you've never seen that, but I actually have.
I mean, that makes sense now that I think about it, but I've personally never seen it. Regardless, I think U is a decent letter. It's nothing spectacular, but it's okay. B tier seems fair.
Yeah, I'm kind of indifferent.
All right, maybe a controversial opinion, but what the hell is V doing? What does it do?
It literally wants to be between an upside down A and a U.
It's like not even there.
It's
What is
it's an edgy U.
Why is it a part of the alphabet? It does nothing.
Yes, it does. No other letter makes a V sound.
Yes, but how many words can you think of that use it?
Vump.
Violin.
That's not a real word.
Yes, it is. Are you denying Vump? Vump.
Transcends language, Jason.
But it's Vump. Are you telling me you don't believe in Vump?
It's too good to be a word.
That's fair.
I disagree. I'd say a solid A.
I don't know about that high, but it's not. I don't think it's bad.
I'd say like maybe low A.
Here's the
but-
thing. Most of my problems with V come in the fact that it's designed like an upside down A without its little shirt.
And like the best part of A is the shirt.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? There are cool guys that rip their shirts off and they make it work.
Okay, but he's also upside down for some reason.
He's doing a handstand.
He doesn't have hands. The hands are on the
His
top.
hands-
Headstand.
He's doing a headstand.
I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it in
He is
V.
in pain. He is in constant pain and agony. Help him.
I'm gonna put it in C because it's a unique letter. No other letter or combination of letters make a V sound, and for that it gets some credit.
We gotta love W though.
No.
No, I strongly disagree with that. Fuck W.
Now, okay, now listen to the. Now, let me explain this. It's called a W, so why is it always pointed like it's two V's?
Here's another question. I just want to point out, of the 26 letters of the English alphabet, 25 of them are one syllable, and W is just chilling out there with 3 for no goddamn reason.
This through. I just said I like W because dub.
No, W sucks. It's the only letter that has...
On the other hand, it has 3 syllables, and it's also called a W despite not having a U shape in there anywhere. No, fuck W.
The main reason I hate W is because if you ever have to abbreviate something that has a word that starts with W in it, abbreviating it sometimes makes the abbreviation longer than what you're abbreviating, and that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, you abbreviate World Wide Web to WWW, which takes longer to say.
Yeah, and I hate that, so I'm putting it in F.
Now let me say something.
Above Q, but still an F.
I say W is like the worst one easily because not only does it not stay true to its name because there's no U's, and if someone does write it like that, then they're freaking inept. But also,
Actually, I have seen people write it
looks
like that.
It looks stupid because not only does it want to be two V's, but it also looks like an upside down M.
It does. How many times have you been playing Scrabble and you picked out a W thinking it was an M, and then you realize, shit, now I have to think of something that starts with a W? It's so much less useful. W sucks. F tier.
Okay. X.
Now here's the thing. I like the idea of X, and I like the design of X. I hate literally everything else about X because it's useless. It's either a Z or a KS.
I mean, hey, X is badass in its look, and it doesn't work as well as it should, but it still looks cool. And
Here's the problem. X is more useful as a symbol than a letter.
All usernames start and end with XX because it looks cool.
That's
hey, if you put 3 of them together, you're looking at porn.
Here's the problem. X is better as a symbol than it is as a letter, and we're not here to rank symbols. We're here to rank letters. Let's not lose sight of our goal here, boys.
That's true.
True.
And while I love X as a symbol and it is very useful, it gets the point across very clearly. If you see an X on something, you automatically know that means no. And it's just a very clear sign that's immediately understandable to anybody. The problem is that's not you. The problem is that's not using X as a letter.
We have used the designs as a criteria for
There's a difference between its design and other uses of its design. When people are crossing something out, they're not writing the letter X. They're drawing something in the shape of an X. That's two different things. When you cross something out, you're not writing X. That's not what you're doing. You're writing a symbol that translates to no.
D?
That's not a letter. And because
Did you say D isn't a letter?
you said D when I was in the middle of saying that X isn't a letter. Because here's the thing, anytime you are using X for its intended purpose as a letter, it's something that other letters can already do. So you don't really need it. There's literally only one scenario I can think of where X is its own unique thing, and that's in the word X-ray, where you're literally just saying X.
Okay, so X is like a pretty useless letter, but it looks cool, so D tier.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm putting... The only reason I'm not putting it in F tier is because it's found other use outside of letterdom. But in the realm of letterdom...
It was born into a family that wanted all of its kids to grow up and become letters, and X said, fuck you.
X is adopted. X is adopted. The English language adopted X, and nobody told him. He can never know the truth. It will devastate him.
Now, Y is one of the worst offenders when it comes to identity crises.
Oh my god, fuck Y. F tier.
I agree, honestly.
Absolutely.
As obvious plant connoisseurs, we are legally obligated to...
We are disowning the letter Y. Please discard.
I can't even tell if it wants to be a vowel or a consonant.
We shouldn't even have to explain why. Like, look at it. What is it doing?
Also, I want to point out that the word Y does contain a Y, but it's at the end of the word for some godforsaken reason. That's just not right. That's not natural, and I don't like it.
Identity crises before, but letters are supposed to fit into one of two categories. They're either a vowel or a consonant. Y has no clue what it's doing.
It really doesn't. It doesn't know what it wants to be.
And even if it does become a vowel, it's just an I. And even if you pluralize it, it gets replaced with an I.
Here's the thing, well, like, okay, X was adopted, but at least it found its own identity. Y was also adopted, but nobody told it that it was adopted, and it grew up trying its best and just never amounted to anything useful. So it's like the awkward middle child that nobody asked for, but they just kind of let it exist as its own thing, and nobody bothered him. They just kind of let him grow up.
Like alphabet lore.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's more like the awkward kid of the group. It's like it tries to fit in, but it doesn't really put in enough.
No, you know what Y is? Y is the scrawny white kid that lifts weights or tries to lift weights. Because he wants to fit in with the jocks, but he just doesn't. And because he does that and he's a tryhard, the nerds don't like him either.
I love how we're making alphabet lore.
Well, I mean, how else are you going to explain what Y is? It doesn't know what it wants to be. It wants to fit in with both groups, and it fits in neither. That's the problem.
Out of all the letters, it's the worst one in terms of identity crisis.
Yeah. Because at least
identity crisis, and if you look at it, it's just the letter T, but up. Why is it going up?
It's the T's sombrero just started pointing upward for no reason.
That is not aesthetically appealing.
No, it's if someone put a V on a steak.
Yeah, really, that's what it is. It's a V on a stick, and yet it sounds nothing like a V. All right, so how do you feel about Z? I think Z is a solid mid tier, probably B.
I'd say Z is like a low A. It's really cool. It's badass at times.
I agree.
It can be used in really cool ways. It just doesn't get used enough, so it's kind of underappreciated. It's the underdog.
My problem with Z is that for some reason half the world calls it Z. Why?
Sorry for being Canadian.
My problem with
No. I'm not dissing the side of the world that calls it Z. It's just like it's the only letter that has a different name depending on where you are and like why.
My problem with it though is that people like to the English like to use it in way or likes to not use it because like we got a laser. They're like, oh yeah, you're spelling it with an S. No, that's got a Z on it.
That's true. Here's the thing, like Z is like a more aggressive S.
Exactly.
It's the flat S.
Yeah.
No.
It's quite literally an edgy S because it has edges and it sounds edgier. It's an edgy S.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a flat S. I'd say it's a sharp S.
It's an aggressive S. That's what it is.
Knife S. It's an S that's gonna stab you.
Yeah, because he's a sharp boy. Look at him.
Exactly.
He's pointy.
No, it's not gonna stab you, it's gonna stab you.
Exactly.
I'd say S, honestly. I'd say S tier.
I think that's being a little too generous because, like, it had.
An A.
I put it in A because it does have an identity crisis, but that's also not the letter's fault. That's the fault of people around the world deciding to name it different things. That's like adopting a child at the age of 10 and telling him that you're gonna change his name legally. It's gonna confuse the kid. And that's just not fair to him. Z didn't deserve that.
The poor boy.
Z didn't deserve that.
Right.
So anyway, we're looking at Fidext for S tier, Amps for A tier, Ow for B, Jaburv for C, Ilks for D, and Yingkwakula for all the letters that don't know what the hell they want to be. Except for N, which knows what he wants to be but just fails at it.
This was a brilliant idea for a tier list.
I'm proud of what we've discussed here today. I think we've made some quality content here.
We have.
I'm proud of our work. We done good, boys. We done good.
We did a yes.
This is how we want to spend our nights.
We did in fact do a yes. I am very tired. Good night.
Good night.